It's going.
All right, let's start. So the mitzvah that I picked for today is mitzvah tzitzit. And actually there are a lot of interesting discussions in the Minchat about tzitzit. Mamash, we could have like a series of shiurim now, but we'll pick one cute thing that I started speaking about it out there, as you've seen. So let's read. I don't know even if we'll have the time to read all the Sefer Chinuch, because it's long. We'll see. We'll see with the time. Let's read. להטיל ציצית בבגד מצוות ציצית. You see, first page, it's ordered. Now, today I came prepared. להטיל ציצית בבגד שנתכסה בו. That is, שנאמר, I'm reading the Hebrew. If you don't understand, so I won't translate. Just let us know. Don't be shy if there is a word. להטיל ציצית בבגד שנתכסה בו. שנאמר, ועשו להם ציצית. וזה החיוב הוא כשיהיה לבגד 4 כנפיים או יותר. Meaning not every garment is obligated in tzitzit. This garment is not obligated in tzitzit. This garment. Only when you have 4 corners, or more than 4 corners, you have tzitzit. דכתיב על 4 כנפות כסותך. That's not a pasuk from our parsha, but on the repetition that is in Mishnah Torah and Devarim, it's written there, Al 4 כנפות כסותך. ויש בכלל 5 או יותר 4. So he says, no, don't think that if you have a strained garment with 5 corners that you're putter. 4 is the minimum. ויש שיעורו גדול כדי שיוכל להתכסות בו ראשו ורובו. ורוב גופו של קטן המתהלך בשוק לבד, מבלי שומר. So there is a certain minimum of measurement. ולפי הדומה שזמן זהו כבר שיט כבר שבע. A 6-year-old, 7-year-old, it will cover his main body. ושיהיה הטלית מצמר או מפשתים. wool or cotton. נכון? נדמה לי. וזהו הבגד שאנו חייבים להטיל בו ציצית שנתכסה. היה חסר דבר אחד מכל אלה. If one of these requirements, there is a criteria, what garment is obligated to put the strings?
Number of corners and the size of it.
The size, the material. היה חסר דבר אחד מכל אלה. כגון, now we will explain it. שיש לו פחות מ4 כנפיים. 3 corners. או שיעור גודלו פחות מזה שאמרנו. It doesn't have the minimum of size. Or שהוא משאר מינים, from some synthetic whatever, פטור מן הציצית מן התורה. It's exempt from tzitzit מן התורה. Now we don't know what happens rabbinically מן התורה. כגון בגדי משי. If it's from משי, how do you translate משי? Whatever. או אפילו צמר של גמלים, או ארנבים, או מנוצה של עזים, כל אלו פטורים מן הציצית מן התורה. שנקרא בגד סתם, garment means בסתם, בגד של צמד ורחלים וכבשים, או בגד פשטים, וכן לעניין צרת הבגד, כמו שכתבתי במקומו. Okay, fine. So that's the definition. Second part, שורשי המצווה. שורש המצווה נגלה בכתוב. The reason is written in the psukim explicitly. שורש המצווה נגלה בכתוב שהיא למען לזכור כל מצוות השם תמיד. That is in order of the tchelet, is to remind us the sky, to remind us כיסא. ואין דבר בעולם יותר טוב לזיכרון. Okay, now I said something. Let's see how he explains it. So, the reason written explicitly in the Torah, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיו. In order to remember the mitzvos. ואין דבר בעולם יותר טוב לזיכרון. There's nothing better for memory כמו נוסח אותם אדוניו קבוע בכסותו, שיחסה בו תמיד ועיניו וליבו עליו כל היום. That you have your uniform, you have the garment, you always have it on you, so it'll always remind you. זהו שנאמר בו כתוב וזכרתם את כל מצוות השם. ואמרו זיכרונם לברכה כי מילת ציצית תרמוז לתרי"ג מצוות. עם צירוף 8 חיתון שבציצית ו5 קשנים. So there is a gematria here that is corresponding to Taryag. ועוד אומר לי ליבי, okay, now he says, my heart tells me, says the Sefer HaChinuch, שיש בו רמז וזיכרון, שגופו של אדם ונפשו, הכל להשם ברוך הוא, that all of this belongs to God. כי הלבן רומז לגוף, שהוא מן הארץ, שנבראת מן השלג, שהוא לבן. כדאי שכאן בפרקי דרבי אליעזר, הארץ ואיכה נבראת, משלג שתחת כיסא הכבוד. וחוטין רמז אל הגוף. וכעניין המרן, כי תחילת בריאת הגוף הוא כעין חוטין. The origin of everything. כמו שאמרו זכרונם לברכה בפרק המפלת. אמר רב אברהם, תנא שני ריחותיו כשני חוטין של זהורית. שני זרועותיו כשני חוטין של זהורית. So it starts from string, the body of a human being. והתכלת אשר אינו כעין הרקיע, ירמוז לנפש. נשמה, שהיא מן העליונים, from the sky, from above. ולזה הרמזו באומה, מה נשתנה התכלת מכל מיני צביונים? מפני, that's what we said before, שהתכלת דומה לים, ים דומה לרקיע, רקיע דומה לכיסא הכבוד, שנאמר ויראו את אלוקי ישראל, והוא אומר כמראה אבן ספיר דמות כיסא, ותחת כיסא הכבוד, מקום שנפשות הצדיקים גנוזות שם, בנפש. לכן אמרו שכורכים חוט התכלת על הלבן, שהנפש היא העליונית והגוף תחתון. So you wrap it upon the white. ואמרו שעושים ממנו 7 כריכות, או י"ג לרמז הרקיעים והאווירים שביניהם, כמו שאמרו תנא הפוחת לא יפחות מ7, ומוסיף לא יוסיף על י"ג, לא יפחות מ7 כנגד 7 רקיעים, 7 skies, לא יוסיף על י"ג כנגד 7 רקיעים ו6 אווירים שביניהם. So there's a lot of secrets here. I'm not claiming that I understand exactly every detail here to its depth, but the idea is clear. Okay, it reminds us of the mitzvahs. Midinei mitzvah. Now there will be a lot. I don't know if we'll read everything. Ma shamu zichroinam. I just want to skim it very quick. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of dinim here. Okay, let's read some of them. מדיני המצווה, מה שאמרו זיכרונם לברכה, שהכסות של 5 כנפיים או 6 או יותר, אין מטילים בו ציצית אלא ב4 כנפיים ממנו המרוחקות. Yeah, so if you have 5 or 6 corners, you will still put only on 4. That's what they're saying. מה שאמרו ש4 ציציות מעכבות זו את זו, ש4תן מצווה אחת. ומה שאמרו שהתכלת אינו מעכב את הלבן והלבן אינו מעכב את התכלת, אין לומר של 2 מצוות, שהכל מצווה אחת היא. תכלת ולבן are not separate מצוות, even though you fulfill one without the other. אלא לומר שהם מעכבים זה את זה, כגון אנו היום, the Sefer HaChinuch speaks, שאין לנו מוצאים תכלת, we don't know what is the תכלת, שלא נמנע מפני זה מעטים חוטים לבנים. מבלי תכלת בציצית, meaning you're יוצא, even only with white, or only with tchilet. But still it's one mitzvah. ונברך עליהן כאילו בשלמותו עם התכלת. לכן בזמן שהתכלת נמצא, when there was תכלת, מי שלא היו לו חוטים לבנים, יכול להתחיל תכלת בסדינו ומתעטף בו ומברך עליה, you could do only תכלת. Now of course nowadays, as you know, there is a claim that we know already what is the תכלת. וצבע התכלת, ושנצטווינו בו, דומה לעין הרקיע בטהרו. It's like the sky in its purity. הוא נעשה בדם דג אחד. It's created out of the blood of one fish, שנקרא חילזון, שאינו דומה לעין הים. That its eye has the same color of the sea. ובים המלח הוא מציאו. plain ספר החינוך. וצובעים בו פתיל של צמר. וזה ימים רבים לישראל לא שמענו. In his days, he's in the medieval times, we don't know what it is. צריך צביעה לשם מצווה, לשמה. וחוטים הלבנים and the white springs, גם כן צריכים צביעה לשמה. So to create the tzitzit, you need לשמה. To have a kavana, I'm doing it l'shem tzitzit. Okay? That is required, so it will be a kosher tzitzit. ואין טובים אותו מן צמר הנאחז בקוצים, כשהצאן ולא מן הנפים, אין עושים אותו, now important, ולא משורש לי, אין עושים אותו מצמר הגזול. I'm gonna speak about this. You don't, a tzitzit is possible if it's done from a stolen wool. Now, it's not barur, it's barur now, but I mean, look, generally speaking, stolen wool, one can say, theoretically, if you don't know anything in the Torah, you're saying, look, there is a Isser lo tigzel. One who was gozel the wool, you will be punished for sure. That has nothing to do with the tzitzit. Tzitzit is a separate mitzvah. If it's a kosher tzitzit, the one who did the tzitzit did it lishma. What do I care that the item is stolen? It's a good tzitzit. Theoretically, one can make that claim. No, it doesn't exist. Of course, the one who stole the wool is a Rasha. That's fine. Still, he could put on tzitzit and perform a mitzvah. Okay? So, here we learn that no. Tzemer gazul disqualifies and lulav, yeah, right. So this is the concept of mitzvah abba ba'avera. I'm just saying mitzvah abba ba'avera. We need a source, and the Gemara indeed gives a source for it. Why do we need a source? Because it's not trivial. Theoretically, I could have said, okay, I took a stolen lulav and I did the mitzvah. Fine, I did the mitzvah. I'll get lashes for stealing. It has nothing to do with each other. So that's the chiddush of mitzvah ba'avera. No, not only that you'll get lashes for the fact that you stole the lulav, you didn't perform any. You weren't fulfilling anything. Because God hates stolen lulav, let's say. Now, velo mishel ir hanidachat. And also, if it's a wool from ir hanidach, avodah zara, or a wool of kodshim, lahavdil, imasa pasul. It's disqualified. Tzitzit shetavaut goy psula. A Gentile that did a tzitzit, it's disqualified. שנאמר דבר בני ישראל ואמרתם בעשו. אבל עשה ישראל בלא כוונה, בדיעבד כשרה. Interesting. שמעתי בגדולים שהעשייה אינה כשרה בנשים. Meaning, this is not a clear din. Yeah, this is not a clear din. That's Shitas Rabbeinu Tam, that kol sheino belevisha eino be'asiya. And the levush, I'm reading in the Ha'ara. And the levush says, because this is the Be'er Bnei Yisrael v'lo Bnot Yisrael. So the Rishonim give reasons. It's not a meforish thing. That's why he says shamati. I think there is an opinion that a woman can do. I remember once I checked it for someone. So his opinion is this. Keitzad osim hatzitzit. Here he gives instructions how to do it. And now skip to the next one. ומי שיש לו כסות 4 כנפיים, כל זמן שאינו מתכסה בה, אינו חייב להטיל בציצית. Let's say I have a garment of 4 corners, and it's not used. It doesn't, there is no chovat chefza that you have in your possession, Beha'alotecha, you have something that is big enough and has 4 corners, you must put on it tzitzit. No. Only when you use it to cover yourself. But if it's tam, not in use, there is no chiyuv. It's not chovat הבגד. מי שיש לו כסות 4 כנפיים, כל זמן שאינו מתכסה בה אינו חייב להטיל בציצית. שהלכה כרב, ואמר ציצית חובת גברא. It's a machlokes actually in Menachos. Big sugi. Rav holds tzitzit chovat gavra. It's a chiyuv on the person. Chiyuv האיש הוא לעשות ציצית בבגד שהוא מתכסה בו. אבל בבגד המונח בקופסה, if it's in a safe or in the cabinet, אינו חייב להטיל בציצית. שאין ההלכה כמאן דאמר חובת מנהו. It's the halacha is not like the one who disagrees with Rav, who claims that it's the chova of the garment, of the kli. כלומר שאם היו לו לאדם כמה לטליטות של 4 כנפיים בביתו, אפילו לא יתכסה בהם לעולם, חייב להניח בכולם ציצית, זה אינו, אלא הלכה כרב דאמר. Yeah, as long as it's in the cabinet, it could stay there without the strings. Okay.
But does that mean that if you have tzitzit, if you have a garment at home that has 4 corners and it doesn't have tzitzit,
What?
the person owns a garment.
That's exactly what we said here. You could, if you have a garment with 4 corners, but you never use it, there's no intention to use it, you don't need to put tzitzit on. Because it's defined legally as a chovat gavra. The chiyuv is on the person when he wants to wear it. Here, look at his description. Chiyuv ha'ish kshehu mitkaseh bo, when he uses it. Velo chovat mana. It's not the chova on the chefza. All right. ומי שיש לו טלית של פשטן, מטיל בו ציציות של פשטן. ולית הלכתה כבית שמאי, דמי סדין בציצית פרועה. כלומר, זה טלית של פשטן, מכיוון שאי אפשר לו להטיל בו תכלת לעולם משום כלאיים, so it's better, no, כי התכלת ודאי עמרה הוא, שצבע התכלת לא יפה בפשטן אלא לעולם בצמר. תכלת is also צמר. תורה חייבה אותנו בתכלת גמור. מכיוון שאי אפשר להטיל חוט צמר בפשטן לעולם משום כלאיים, אף חוטין של המן, של פשטן אין מניחים בו. So we don't say that. זה שאמרו סדין בציצית בית שמאי פותרים, because of כלאיים, ואין הלכה כמותם. למה דלידו משום דלא דרשי סמוכים, והלכה כבית הלל, דרשי סמוכים וסברי עם דברת, לאו דכלאיים אינו בציצית. Meaning, there is no issue of כלאיים and ציצית. שהתורה אמרה, לא תלבש שעטנז, and right juxtaposed to it, גדילים תעשה, make strings, כלומר, אבל גדילים תעשה even from שעטנז.
חשבתי שבדברים כולם דורשים סמוכים.
What?
חשבתי שבדברים כולם דורשים סמוכים.
So there's still a מחלוקת here, משום מה כסברי בית הלל, דסדין בציצית חייבת, כלומר דמניחים ציצית של פשטן בטלית של פשטן והלכה כמותם, אבל אין מניחים בו תכלת, so that's interesting. At the end of the day, Beit Hillel also don't do the kilayim, because in the pishtan they won't put chelet, they'll put just 4 strings of white, of pishtan be-pishtan. Why aren't they putting the kilayim? Exera. Zera mishum kala ilan, meaning that we're concerned that they will put wool with a collar that is not chelet but is very similar to chelet. They'll be confused, and then it will be kilayim. בצבע חשנו ויהיה כליים שלא במקום מצווה. ויקשו בגמרא בהנחות לא יהיה אלא לבן, meaning, according to Beit Hillel, why should we make a gzara? Even it will be kala ilan, but it will be like לבן. אפילו להניח בטלית של פשטים ציציות של צמר לבן. ואין צריך לומר של צמר צבוע בתחיל כמפרי קני, מילי דאמר בית הלל דכליים ותרו בציצית, מדרשה דסמוכים, היכא דליקה מיני. כלומר, היכא דלא אפשר להם במיני, כגון טלית שהוא של פשטן, שאם אתה רוצה להטיל בו תכלת על כל פנים, אתה צריך צמר, שאי אפשר לתכלת אלא בצמר. There you see, they're סמוכים. היכא דאיקה מיני, meaning, כלומר, היכא שאתה רוצה להניח חוטים לבנים, ולא תכלת, so you should do without shatnez. Shatnez that is mafkia, that is mutter and tzitz, only when there is no other choice. So therefore, because of this confusion with kala ilan, practically what Beit Hillel are saying, put pishtan be-pishtan, okay, 4 strings of pishtan in pishtan, lavan, and don't put the tchelet, even though me'ikar adin you can do it. And Beit Shammai are saying, no, since I can't put the tchelet, never, because of Israel Kalayim, so I'm not also putting lavan. It's the name of a color. Kalain. והיינו דרבי שמעון בן לקיש דאמר, כל מקום שאתה מוצא עשה ולא תעשה, אם אתה יכול לקיים את שניהם מותר, ואם לאו יבוא עשה, ידחת לו סבא. עכשיו יכול אתה לקיים שניהם, וכמבי מקיים שניהם. ופני שיש בעניינים אלה הרבה פירושים, רק מעט בכאן. He compares it to עשה דוחה לא תעשה. It's just an analogy, because here it's a different case. We learn that Gdilim, because of the smuchim, that Gdilim you do even from Shatnez. ודע שאף על פי שאין חיוב מצווה זו מן התורה, אלא כשיש לו אדם כסות 4 כנפיים, כמו שאין חיוב מצוות מעקה, אלא במי שיש לו גג. Now Sefer Chinuch says, one can actually be a good Jew without wearing tzitzis ever. He always wears garments like this, only like this. He's fine, he didn't violate anything. So דע, שאף על פי שאין חיוב מצווה זו מן התורה, אלא כשיש לו לאדם כסות 4 כנפיים. Only when he wears, כמו שאין חיוב מצוות מעקה, אלא במי שיש לו גג. You're not obligated to have a roof in your life. I want to live in a tent forever. I love I want to make a tent in Rothschild and just be there forever. That's my type. No problem. And you'll never make the mitzvah of makeh. And it's no problem because you're commanded with makeh only when you have a roof. So the same with tzitzit. You're commanded with tzitzit only when you're wearing a garment of 4 corners. So, despite that, אף על פי כן הזהירו חכמים במצווה זו הרבה, ואמרו שראוי לחזר עליה. There's a chiddush regarding tzitzit. It's a story of a malach. There's a famous story of a malach that came to Rav Tina and told me in the Shamayim they're not happy with you because you're not wearing tzitzit. He said, but what's the problem? So he said, no. So you see that even though you're pater here, there is a desire to lechazer achra, even though it's not a chiyuv. So that's interesting. ואמרו שהזהיר בה, and they said, the sages, שהזהיר בה, זוכה ומשמשים אותו עבדים רבים. One who's careful with it, he has the merit that he has many servants. שהרי כתוב שקלה ותלה בה את כל המצוות, because it has the weight of all the mitzvot, you see it, the taryag, everything. שנאמר, הוא ייתן אותו ושחתם את כל מצוות השם. ואמר רבי אלעזר, שהזהיר בה הוא בתפילין ובמזוזה, ובטח הוא לו שלא יחטא לעולם. וואו. שנאמר, והחוט המשולש, לא במהרה ינתק. If you're desiring tzitzis, tefillin, and mezuzah, you're set. ודיני המצווה הזו במסכת מנחוס בפרק רביעי תמצא אותה. Now the last part of Sefer נוהגת מצווה זו בזכרים. Women are exempt. We'll have to explain why. בכל מקום ובכל זמן, אבל לא בנקבות. ואם רצו הנקבות להתעטף מתעטפות בלא ברכה, כדעת קצת המפרשים, וקצתם אמרו אפילו בברכה. Yeah, it's the machloket of the Rambam and Rabbi Tam, whether women are blessing on mitzvot asa shahazman geram. Okay? נמשיך. ועובר על זה ולבש בגד צמר או פשטין גדול כשרו שאמרנו הוא שלו ולא הטיל בו ציצית, ביטל עשה זה ביטל עשה. ואם הוא של שאר מינים, synthetic, whatever, ביטל מצווה דרבנן. ואם אינו שלו, אלא ששאל אותו, he borrowed it, he doesn't own it, כל 30 יום, כלומר מיום ששאלה עד תשלום 30 יום, פטורה מן הציצית. You can go with it without the strings. It's not his. You need to own to be chayav. Own and wear. But after 30 days, and it's still borrowed, chayav. Because that's the din. Now let's see a little bit the Minchat Chinuch. So we'll start with the beginning. עמוד פ"א. להטיל ציצית בבגד שנתכסה בו. אוקיי? להטיל ציצית בבגד שנתכסה בו. דיני מצווה זו מבוארים ברמב"ם בהלכות ציצית. ובטור בשולחנו ובקור החיים הלכות ציצית סימן ח' עד כ"ד. מני סימנים בין השולחן ח' תל כ"ד. והנה במצווה זוהי העריכו הראשונים והאחרונים ולא הניחו פינה וזווית שלא נשתתחו בה. So he says, here I have an abundance of literature on this thing. Both Rishonim and Achronim didn't leave even one corner for me to make innovation. Like, they covered everything. ולהעריך צריך חיבור גדול. So tachlis I can write an entire book on it. וכבר ידעת דרכי, You, the reader, speaks to us. You know my way. מה שמבואר בהרבה בראשונים ואחרונים, אין רצוני להאריך. If something is already explained at length, then it's a bit. טוב בקיצור, שורשי המצווה בסייעתא. So, keep it short. I'll write you some outlines. בגד שהוא בין 4 כנפות או 5 ו6 ויותר, מצוות עשה להטיל ציצית ב4 כנפות. ו4 ציציות כולן מצווה אחת הן. ובפחות מ4 ציציות לא קיים המצווה כלל. You put 3, if you put 3 corners out of 4, it's as if you didn't do anything. 0. Out of the 6? No, so he says in the further ones. There is some definition. ויש, that's the ספר החינוך, we read it there. ויש נפקא מינה, גם כן, עיין בסוף פרק החום. יצא כלל, וארבעתן מצווה אחת הן כחכמים. So it was actually a machloket if each corner is a separate קיום, or... but the halacha it's one mitzvah. בגד שהוא פחות מ4 כנפות, אינו חייב בציצית כלל. Okay, we saw that. ודעת הרי"ף הרמב"ם כאן, והרב המחבר בספר החינוך, ואינו חייב מן התורה בציצית אלא בגד של צמר רחלים או בגד פשתן ובגדים של שאר מינים פטורים מן התורה, רק מדרבנן חייבים. ודעת, but here he brings us ודעת רש"י ותוספות מנוחם דיבור הנתחיל ברב נחמן, וכל הבגדים חייבים מן התורה. So it's a machlokas Rishonim. The Minchat Chinuch tells us the secret that Rashi is against what we saw in Sefer Chinuch. Every material of a 4-cornered beged chayav min haTorah b'tzitzit. Ayin b'shas u'ved Yosef siman ze ba'arichus. Mikom beged shel or ledivrei hakol patur. But one is agreed by everyone. If it's done out of or leather, then it will be patur. The or lo avi beged. Or doesn't have the name of beged. והחוטים של ציצית הם מצמר ופשתים או מאיזה מין שהוא. החוטים could be from every material. יש חילוק. וחוטי צמר ופשתים פותרים בין במינם בין בכל מיני בגדים. They're always exempt. חוטים משאר מינים אינם חוטים אלא כל אחד במינו ולא בשאינו מינו. Meaning synthetic strings will be patur only to synthetic garments. We won't be patur pishtim or tzemer. Now he will speak about the shatnez, and that's a great piece. I'll skip it because I want to speak about the mitzvah ba'avera, and if we'll have time, we'll return to this. So now go to the next page. So let's read. You see here in the corner, Asiya Lishma. והחוטים של ציצית צריכים תביעה לשמה. I'm in the right hand column. והחוטים של ציצית יש פה היום הרבה מעופפים. והחוטים של ציצית צריכים תביעה לשמה. ואם לאו פסולים. Is it still working, by the way? Probably is.
החינוך אמר בדיעבד הם כשרים, כן?
Yeah.
החינוך אמר בדיעבד כשרים.
נכון, so let's see. החוטים של ציצית צריכים תביעה לשמה, ואם לאו פסולים. No. So when he said כוונה, אם ישראל לא נתכוון, זה כשר, נכון? But on the other hand, he said, beforehand, the Sefer, there's a need lishma.
כן, אבל בדיעבד אם לא היה
So now the question is, in Kavanah and Lishma seems to us the same thing. The question is it really the same thing? I'll explain you soon. Mori v'Rabbi Arav Lichtenstein made a chiluk not only in between Kavanah and Lishma, but maybe we'll see let's see what he's writing here. חוטים של ציצית צריכים תביעה לשמה ואם לאו פסולים. ולעניין שזורים, ואין כל זה בראשונים. Now, let's see what he says about the Kavanah. אבל עשה ישראל בלא כוונה, The avad kshira. Yay. Now, wait a minute. It's interesting. Okay. It's interesting here. You know what? I'll leave it for now. Let's see now the next piece. Chutim gzulim. Chutim gzulim. V'chutim gzulim. Psulim. Right? He said that if the strings are stolen, it won't be kosher. It's written. ואין עושים אותה מצמר הגזול. Right? That's what we saw in the Chinuch. אין עושים אותה מצמר הגזול. סוחטים גזולים פסולים. עיין בסוכה דף ט' עמוד א'. דממעטינן דכתיב ועשו להם משלהם. דבר נעשה ועשו להם ציצית. So you should own it. So if it's stolen, it is disqualified because ועשו להם ציצית משלהם. The Tosfot there on Sukkah is commenting on the Gemara. Sukkah ta'aseh lecha mishelcha, and the Gemara learns that consequently a schach gazul, Sukkah gzula, psula. And the Tosfot there asks, Geval, uvelavka, Tosfot asks, no, first of all he says here the Gemara. The Gemara just says v'asu lahem Mishelahem, and regarding Sukkah, Ta'aseh lecha Mishelcha. Uvelavka, Pasul Mahmat, Mitzvah Abba Ba'avera. לשיטות הסוברים דמן התורה פסול. הבאתי בסמוך אות ב' בקיצור. Yeah, he mentioned it beforehand where we skipped, okay? בקיצור. That if Mitzvah Abba Ba'avera is a psul min Torah, as most Rishonim understand, that mitzvah ba'avera is pasul min Torah. So l'chora, there is a problem here. Why do I need a pasuk to teach me? Sukkah ta'aseh lecha mishelcha, and therefore gazul is pasul, or ve'asu lahem mishelahem, and therefore stolen strings are pasul. I don't need the pasuk for this. I have a general din that mitzvah ba'avera pasul. I have a pasuk in the Nevi'im that says ba'avetem et hagazul ve'et hapiseach, that the Gemara in the 3rd chapter of Sukkah learns from it. That mitzvah ba'avera, that if you take a stolen lulav, you're not fulfilling your chiyuv. So I can apply it on a stolen sukkah, on a stolen tzitzis, and I don't need these psukim. So that's a big kasha that the Tosfot on the spot in Sukkah Daftet asks on the Gemara. Why do you bring me these psukim regarding tzitzis and sukkah? I don't need these psukim to learn that guzzle is disqualified. So now let's see. That's a very famous Minchat Chinuch, a very famous Minchat Chinuch that I love teaching here in Shul. I taught it many times. Ayen b'mitzvat sukkah, the sham bi'alti. I explained over there. Nehi de b'mitzvah ba'avera lo kiyem ha'mitzvah. Mikol makom lo avar al ha'mitzvah b'mitzvot elu kegon sukkah v'tzitzis. He's very short here. But I'll explain you what he said. I learned the Minchat Chinuch on Sukkah. Though he's clear here, he just writes it here very briefly. Look at what he says. He says, there is a kasha of Tosfos that I explained. You know what Tosfos answers? He gives an unbelievable answer. Tosfos, in one of his answers, the main answer, he says, indeed, mitzvah abba b'ma'avera, mitzvah abba is only a psul midirabanan. Midoraita one is yotze with the lulav, with the stolen lulav. Midoraita one is yotze with the stolen sukkah or with the stolen tzitzis. It's a psul midirabanan. So here there is a chiddush that even midoraita you're not yotze with the tzitzis. But the Minchat doesn't like the answer. Because many Rishonim hold that the psul of mitzvah ba'avera is min haTorah. So then we still stuck with a question. Minchat says something very creative. I'll introduce you what he says regarding sukkah, and then you'll see that he says the same thing regarding tzitzis. He says there's a big difference between the chiyuv on the first day, the first night. Yes, there's a big difference between the chiyuv on the first night and the rest of the days of Sukkah. This chiluk, the Gemara already says it. The Gemara in Sukkah says the following. First night, you have an obligation to eat a kazayit or a kibetza pot in the Sukkah. That's the first night. It's just like every day you have a chiyuv to put on tefillin. And Chinuch coins the term mitzvah chiyuvit. Chiyuvit not from the word positive, but from the word chiyuv. He makes a distinction between two categories of mitzvot aseh. There is a mitzvot aseh chiyuviyot, like tefillin, like the first night, like eating kazait matzah on the first night. You have a chiyuv. And if you pass the first night of Sukkot without eating a kazayit in the Sukkah, you are over on a chiyuv. However, what happens in the next days? No. The Gemara says, Ibai achil teshvu ke'en tadur. Just like in my house, I can pass 7 days by eating only chocolate and ice cream and meat. I can pass. No one obligates, or I can fast if I want. So no one obligates you to eat bread on these 7 days. Only at the first night. That's a special Gzerat HaKatuv, Tetzvav from Chag HaMatzot. But in terms of the Basukot Teshvu, no, it says only the following thing. If you desire to eat a piece of bread, then you must do it in a sukkah. That's all. But no one will complain to you if the Shamayim won't complain to you if these 7 days you won't eat bread in the sukkah. Says the Minchat the following. If there was no pasuk, if we had only the concept of mitzvah, haba, ba'avera, then I would know that on the first night, when I ate in the stolen sukkah, I didn't fulfill that chiyuv. That applies for them. That's mashpia, influences that mitzvah chiyuvit. You have a chiyuv, you failed to meet the requirement of a chiyuv to eat kazayit on the first night. Why? Because it's a stolen, and that I know because of mitzvah ba'avera. I don't need a pasuk because it's a mitzvah ba'avera. So I didn't fulfill, just like I didn't fulfill the chiyuv to pick the lulav because of mitzvah ba'avera. I didn't fulfill the chiyuv to eat in kazayit in the sukkah. However, mitzvah ba'avera doesn't define the sukkah. That's a dakut. Doesn't define the chefts of the sukkah as a pasal sukkah. Mitzvah ba'avera. It's a kosher sukkah. I mean, it's a sukkah. The only thing, since it's a stolen sukkah, you won't fulfill your obligation on the first night. But at the other nights, it's not a mitzvah chiyuvit. At the other days, it's mitzvah, he calls it kiyumit. Meaning, if you have it, if you want to eat bread, you must not do it outside of a sukkah. So I didn't do it outside of a sukkah. I ate in a sukkah. A stolen sukkah. I ate in a sukkah. That is not the mitzvah abba ba'avera will not define me as one who ate outside of the sukkah. Okay? Stolen sukkah is in a certain middle status. I can't fulfill my obligation in terms of mitzvah chiyuvit because it's mitzvah abba ba'avera, but I'm not defined as someone who ate outside of a sukkah. And that's all that I need in the rest of the days. So comes the pasuk, Shelcha, Chag HaSukkot ta'aseh lecha mishelcha, to say no, you are actually defined as someone who doesn't eat in a kosher sukkah. Meaning that ta'aseh lecha mishelcha is a definition of the chefs of the sukkah as a puzzle sukkah. The minute that the schach is stolen, it's a puzzle sukkah. So you're eating outside of the sukkah. If it was only for mitzvah abba ba'avera, it's not defined as eating outside of the sukkah. Mitzvah abba ba'avera only influences the fact that you didn't fulfill your obligation in the first night. Because one cannot fulfill an obligation, a chiyuv, when he does it via an avera. But it's not a puzzle sukkah. Comes the pasuk and tells me it's a puzzle sukkah. Because ta'aseh lecha mishelcha. Brilliant. That's the Minchat Chinuch. Now the Minchat Chinuch is planning to tell us the same regarding tzitzis. Let's see it. He will do the same trick regarding tzitzit. Now let's continue. V'ayin b'mitzvat sukkah shin kaf hei. I'm repeating what. Ayin b'mitzvat sukkah shin kaf hei. The Sham Be'arti, there I explained, Nehi de b'mitzvah abba ba'avera lo kiyem ha'mitzvah mikol makom. Yeah, he didn't fulfill a chiyuv because of mitzvah abba ba'avera, and that's even min haTorah. Mikol makom lo avar ala mitzvah b'mitzvot ka'elu, kegon sukkah v'tzitzit. Meaning in such mitzvos, meaning sukkah and the rest of the days, and tzitzis, as the Sefer Chinuch, it's like ma'akeh. It's not a mitzvah chiyuvit, because one can actually pass all his days without doing tzitzis. If you have, meaning you need to be defined as someone who wore a garment without arba knafot. So he says, no, mitzvah abba ba'avera, I don't have a chiyuv to wear a garment with arba knafot. My only requirement is when you wear a garment with arba knafot, you must make sure that it has strings. So it has strings, stolen strings. It's not a pasol tzitzit. Mitzvah abba ba'avera won't tell me that it's a pasol tzitzit. Just like with the sukkah. So how will I know? So I need a pasuk to tell me that it's a pasol tzitzit. The same trick he did here. Okay? Brilliant. And now we'll see why it's problematic. Brilliant and problematic. Nachon? So you didn't. No. So you failed. No. So you failed to fulfill this chizur. But that's not a chiyuv. Imken. So I need a pasuk. That's what he says. So the bottom line, I need a pasuk. Imken mita mitzvah ba'avera al kol panim im lavash beged kazeh. After lo kiyem mitzvah, it's true. He didn't fulfill any mitzvah because it's mitzvah abba ba'avera. He didn't fulfill any chiyuv when he wore tzitzis with stolen strings. Mikol makom lo avar ha'aseh. But he didn't wear a pasol tzitzit. Okay, he didn't wear four-cornered without strings. It's not like he wore a garment without a tzitzit. For that I need a pasuk. Mitzvah abba ba'avera is not enough. And not stolen. Now I know. I explained it so clearly in the mitzvah of sukkah It's just copy paste. Do here the same. However, it looks brilliant, but it's very problematic. A lot of Achronim attack this Minchat. I also, when I read it, I presented it. I was like a salesman. But let's speak seriously, both about tzitzis and about sukkah. Minchat here has some assumptions that are very, very unclear, to say in an understatement. What happens in the 5th day of Sukkot? Is the only thing is that I have a prohibition to eat outside of the sukkah? Is that the only story here? That's a very extreme way to understand. It says Basukot teshvu shiv'at yamin. So, what's the difference between the first day and the rest, that night and the rest of them? Yeah, he's right. There is a difference. And then right here, I have an obligation to eat bread, and in the rest, I don't have an obligation. But if I eat bread in the sukkah, it's not only that I should refrain from not eating it outside of the sukkah, is that once I eat the bread, I am mevarech. Baruch atah Hashem leishev b'sukkah, and I fulfill a commandment. So since I fulfill a commandment, l'chora mitzvah haba ba'avera is relevant. Meaning, it's not that the only requirement of the Torah that once you want to eat bread in the 5th day, just don't eat it outside of the sukkah. You will fulfill a mitzvah, or I'll say even more. The definition is, once you want to eat bread, you have a chiyuv to eat it in the sukkah. Once you wear a garment with 4 corners, it's not just that you have an isur aseh not to wear it without strings. When I wear the garment and put the strings there and wear it with the strings, I am a kayim. I have a chiyuv. I'll say more. When I want to wear it, I have a chiyuv. When I have a roof, I have a chiyuv to build a ma'akeh. It's not just that I have an isser to have a roof without a ma'akeh. I have a chiyuv. It's true. Some chiyuvim are what he calls mitzvah chiyuvit. I have a chiyuv every day of the year to put on tefillin. I have a chiyuv every first night of Pesach to eat matzah. And yes, I can live my entire life without a roof. But once I have a roof, it's a mitzvah aseh to build the roof. Once I have the garment, it's a mitzvah aseh to put the strings. Once I want to eat the bread, it's a mitzvah aseh, and I'm mevarech leishev b'sukkah, I'm mekayim a mitzvah. So mitzvah ba'avera, according to his formulation also, is still relevant. It's not that I have only an isur aseh to eat outside of the sukkah, or I have only an isur aseh to wear the garment, meaning, if I have a mitzvah ba'avera, I didn't fulfill my obligation to put 4 strings. What is he talking about? Now, so there is a whole attack of this concept, this middle status territory. He had a medium status, and the question is whether this thing is bichlal true. Also, another attack on the Minchat is how he understands mitzvah ba'avera. His understanding is that when you have a chiyuv, you can't fulfill your obligation if you did it via an avera. But Rav Soloveitchik understands that actually the psol is not that, and that's according to the Rambam and the Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi says that if I tear my clothes on Shabbos and I'm melechet korea, and it's in order to make the chiyuv kriya on my deceased, that you did fulfill your chiyuv kriya. And it's not mitzvah ba'avera. That's what the Yerushalmi says. As opposed to taking the lulav. Why is that? Because the psul is ba'aveitem et hagazim et ha'tisah. Chefza shel avera. The problem is with the chefza shel avera, that it's ma'us, not with the action of the mitzvah. Okay.